Imagine walking through a city that was already ancient before the pyramids reached the height we know today. Thousands of years ago, in the plains of the Indus River, people built a city unlike almost anything the ancient world had seen. Its streets were carefully planned. Its houses were built from standardized bricks. Its people had wells. They had drainage systems. They had public bathing facilities. And they had built a city large enough to become one of the great urban centers of the ancient world. Its name was Mohenjo-Daro. But then something changed. The city declined. The great urban civilization surrounding it transformed. And eventually, Mohenjo-Daro was abandoned. For generations, people could walk across the landscape without knowing that an enormous city was buried beneath their feet. So what happened? Was it drought? Was it the river? Was it disease? Was it social collapse? Or did this civilization simply transform into something archaeologists are still struggling to understand? This is the story of Mohenjo-Daro, and the civilization that disappeared from the ancient world stage. Today, Mohenjo-Daro lies in Sindh, in modern-day Pakistan, near the Indus River. But its ruins tell us that this was once much more than a settlement. It was a carefully organized city. UNESCO describes the site as one of the best preserved urban settlements of ancient South Asia. Its remains include a raised citadel, a lower city, organized streets, wells, drainage systems, public structures, and thousands of brick-built remains. And perhaps one of the strangest things about Mohenjo-Daro is how ordinary some of its achievements seem to us. Clean water, waste disposal, planned streets, standardized construction. These are things we associate with modern cities. But Mohenjo-Daro was doing them thousands of years ago. The city belonged to what archaeologists call the Indus Civilization, sometimes called the Harappan Civilization. At its height, this civilization stretched across a huge area of South Asia. Mohenjo-Daro was one of its major urban centers. And then, sometime during the 2nd millennium BC, that urban world began to change. The city we know today was left behind. But before we can understand its disappearance, we need to understand what made it extraordinary. Picture yourself entering Mohenjo-Daro thousands of years ago. You would not see skyscrapers. You would not see paved highways. There would be no electricity, cars, or machines. But you might notice something surprisingly familiar. Organization. The streets were arranged according to a deliberate plan. Buildings were constructed using standardized bricks. Water was accessible through wells. Wastewater was directed through carefully designed drainage systems. The city was not simply growing randomly. Someone was thinking about how the city should function. That raises a fascinating question. Who organized all of this? We know that the Indus civilization possessed considerable administrative and engineering abilities, but we still don't fully understand its political structure. Unlike ancient Egypt, there are no enormous royal tombs dominating the landscape. Unlike Mesopotamia, we don't have a large collection of readable royal inscriptions telling us the names of kings and their achievements. Instead, we are left with bricks, streets, seals, pottery, tools, buildings, and a writing system that remains undeciphered. This makes the Indus civilization one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. We know the civilization existed. We know it was sophisticated. We know its people traded, farmed, built cities, and developed complex systems. But we don't know what they called themselves. We don't know the names of their kings. And we don't know exactly what their written symbols were saying. The civilization left behind a physical world, but very little readable voice. Perhaps the greatest obstacle to understanding the civilization is sitting right in front of us. It's writing. Indus inscriptions appear on seals, objects, and other archaeological materials. But unlike Egyptian hieroglyphics, the Indus script has not been securely deciphered. That means the people of Mohenjo-Daro cannot simply tell us what happened. Imagine discovering an ancient civilization with thousands of objects, but almost none of its writing can be read with confidence. Every symbol becomes a mystery. Every seal becomes a clue. And every interpretation has to be tested against archaeology. This is why Mohenjo-Daro is so compelling. We are not watching a civilization through the eyes of its historians. We are reconstructing it from fragments. A broken brick, a buried well, a drainage channel, a seal, a skeleton, a layer of soil, a change in settlement patterns. Piece by piece, archaeologists try to reconstruct a world that has been silent for thousands of years. And eventually, those clues begin pointing toward a major transformation. The decline of the Indus urban system was not necessarily one sudden night when everyone disappeared. This is one of the most important things to understand. Modern archaeological research increasingly describes the process as a transformation or urbanization. Urban centers declined, settlement patterns changed, populations dispersed, and communities increasingly appeared in different regions and forms. The question is, why? One major clue comes from the environment. The Indus civilization depended heavily on rivers and agriculture. Water was fundamental to its cities, and climate records indicate that the region experienced major hydroclimatic changes during the period when the civilization was contracting. Studies have identified increasing drought episodes around the period of the civilization's decline. Other research has identified prolonged river droughts affecting the wider Indus basin. That does not mean one drought suddenly destroyed Mohenjo-Daro. It means the environmental systems supporting the civilization may have become increasingly difficult to rely upon. Imagine an urban society built around water. Now imagine rainfall becoming less reliable, river flows changing, agricultural production becoming harder, trade routes shifting, food systems adapting. A city can survive a bad year, perhaps even several bad years. But what happens when environmental stress continues for generations? That is where the story becomes much more complicated. One important line of evidence points toward climate. Research published in scientific reports has examined evidence for weakening monsoon conditions and changes in water availability during the period associated with the decline of the Harappan civilization. Another study published in 2025 argued that severe and persistent river droughts may have affected the Indus Basin for decades to centuries, between roughly 4,400 and 3,400 years before present. The researchers suggested that reduced water availability, combined with drier conditions, could have contributed to the dispersal of populations from major urban centers. But there is an important warning. Climate alone does not explain everything. The Indus civilization was enormous. Different communities experienced different environments. Some areas may have suffered water shortages. Others may have remained habitable. And archaeological evidence suggests that people adapted. They changed settlement locations. They changed agricultural strategies. And they moved toward regions where conditions were more favorable. This means the word collapse can sometimes be misleading. A civilization can lose its cities without losing all of its people. It can lose its political and economic structure while communities continue living elsewhere. And this may be exactly what happened with the Indus civilization. Mohenjo-Daro did not necessarily become empty because every person vanished. It may have become empty because the system that made a giant city practical was no longer sustainable. That is a very different story. Water was not just a resource. It was the foundation of the entire civilization. The Indus River and other river systems shaped settlement, agriculture, transport, and trade. So naturally, researchers have investigated whether changing rivers contributed to the decline. Some older explanations focused heavily on dramatic river changes. But modern research has complicated the picture. Studies of ancient river channels suggest that some major river reorganizations happened earlier than the peak and decline of Indus urbanism in certain regions. So we cannot simply say, the river moved, therefore the civilization collapsed. The reality appears to be more complicated. River systems changed over thousands of years. Monsoon patterns changed. Different regions experienced different environmental pressures, and people responded differently. This is important because it teaches us something about ancient civilizations. They rarely collapse because of one simple cause. Instead, multiple pressures can interact. A weaker monsoon can reduce water. Reduced water can affect crops. Poor harvests can affect trade. Trade changes can affect cities. Population movement can weaken urban institutions. And once enough parts of the system begin changing, the old way of life may no longer make sense. For much of the 20th century, one dramatic explanation attracted attention: invasion. Some early interpretations suggested that invading groups destroyed the Indus cities. But the archaeological picture does not provide a simple story of a single violent conquest that explains the civilization's transformation. Instead, researchers now consider a much wider range of factors: climate, water, agriculture, trade, social organization, migration, disease, and changing settlement patterns. There may never be one dramatic answer, and perhaps that is why Mohenjo-Daro remains so mysterious. The city does not give us the cinematic ending we might expect. There is no universally accepted final battle. No identified king who ordered the city abandoned. No readable inscription saying, "This is why we left." Instead, there is silence, and that silence has encouraged generations of speculation. Here is the part of the story that changes everything. The people did not simply vanish. The urban civilization transformed. Communities continued across South Asia. Population patterns shifted. People adapted to changing environments. Some moved eastward. Others remained in different regions. The giant cities became less central. The civilization's urban system faded. But its people did not simply evaporate. This is why the phrase, "a civilization that disappeared without a trace," is powerful as a title, but misleading as literal history. There are traces everywhere. They are in the bricks, the pottery, the wells, the beads, the seals, the settlements, the agricultural remains, the DNA and biological evidence being studied by researchers. The mystery isn't that there are no clues. The mystery is that the clues don't yet tell us the entire story.
5,000 years ago, people built a city that was planned around water, sanitation, agriculture, and trade. They created one of the ancient world's great urban civilizations. Then the environment changed. The rivers changed. The climate became more difficult. Economic and social systems transformed, and the great cities gradually lost their place at the center of civilization. Mohenjo-Daro was eventually abandoned, but the people did not simply disappear. They adapted, they moved, they changed, and the civilization they created slowly became something else. Perhaps that is the real mystery of Mohenjo-Daro. Not how an entire civilization vanished, but how an entire civilization transformed without leaving us a clear explanation. And somewhere beneath the ruins, there may still be clues waiting to be understood, because the greatest mystery of Mohenjo-Daro is not what we know. It is what its silent ruins have not yet told us. This is Hidden Bloodline, and history is never as dead as it looks.